I'm about to simplify everything that has to do with basketball. I believe that if it's not simple, then it's either not true or it's not important. And so everything that matters in life in general, but I'm going to keep it basketball. Everything that matters should be able to be simplified so that anybody can understand it. And so that's what I'm about to do right now. I'm going to give you the simplest version of everything that I think is important for any basketball player to maximize their career or their talent or their skill level or whatever it is. And so I want to make this disclaimer really quick. I did not organize this the best that I possibly could. I just kind of typed it all out there and got it on paper before I forgot. So there might be some things in here that don't go in order. There's probably things that I forgot that I'm going to write down later because this is kind of the preview to the book I'm going to write in the future. And so you're getting a sneak peek of that. And also understand that, your level of initial talent will determine your upside. So when I'm telling you all these things, understand that it's meant to maximize what you have. And so everybody does not start off with the same talent level. Some people start off at a 90 out of 100. I think I'm one of those kids that started off at a 90. I was just good right away. I got lucky. There's some people that's like a 48, like they weren't that good. They never were the best player on the team and all these other things. And so understand where you're at and understand that, I might be able to take your 48 or your 72 and turn it into give you 10 or 20 extra points. So that's what my thing is. It's like, how high is your ceiling? I want to get you to that ceiling by giving you this information. And so everybody's ceiling is a little bit different. So just understand that. And I always say if I'm not an 80 in something, I'm not going to pursue that as a career. I'll do it for fun, but as a career, I wouldn't do that. That's just me personally. You can do what you want. So I just wanted to throw that disclaimer out there because talent becomes skill when you can use your talent consistently. And so my goal is to turn your talent level into skill because talent you cannot control. Skill is control, and so that's kind of what I say. Talent gets you to the airport. Skill gets you on the plane. Like that's how I think about it. So I'm going to give you all the information, digest it, leave a comment. If you have questions, I'll answer them. Other than that, man, hopefully this helps and I'm going to get into it. Also, really quick, thank you for being in my text group. There's like 240, 250 right now. I'm trying to get it to thousands and thousands. So if you're one of the initial 250 or whatever it is, thank you. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. So my first point is mastering the basics. People get fooled all the time. Especially like you're scrolling on the internet all day and you're watching all these Instagram videos. So annoying. I want to block them all. You don't need 46 combo moves. You don't need 1,000 dribbles and all these other things. Like, yes, practice dribbling so you can have good ball control. But, 46 dribbles into an attack move and 7 setups. Like, you're wasting your time. And so master the basics. Like the reason I say that is because the most elite players in the world, they don't mess up the basics. You know what I'm saying? So people think there's a difference between you can do it and you can't mess it up. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of players can do the basics, but there's a lot of players that still mess up the basics. And so when you get to a professional level and you're elite, like Steph Curry's not messing up basics. Kyrie Irving's not messing up basics. Like they just don't do that on a consistent basis. And that's what amateurs do. Like they're okay at the basics. They know the basics, but they still mess it up. And so your goal is to make sure you never mess up the basics. That is it. I promise you. So when it comes to jump stops, comes to passing, open shots, like I always say, the most important shots in the game, contested layup, free throws, wide open jump shot, right? Those 3 shots, you can make a living off that. And so if you consistently can go into games and you always make those, like you always make contested layups, you always make free throws, you always make open jump shots, then, you can start to get into other things of making contested jump shots and all these other things. But you don't really need it. Like it rarely happens. If you're shooting those all the time, if you're shooting 4 dribble, 5 dribble jump shots all the time, then you're not good because you consistently have to shoot hard shots. So great players don't have to shoot hard shots all the time. That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. And so master the basics. Everything, that your coaches say, go to a lot of camps and all the most cliche things that you always hear, do those. When a coach says fake a pass to make a pass, do that. When it says pivot this way and then make a bounce pass in the paint. Do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't just skip over and act like it doesn't matter. Do those things all the time. And I promise you, you're going to surpass most people that you play against. It's just super obvious. Now, my second point is you need good coaches, right? And because that's how you master the basics. That's how you learn the basics, is by having a really good coach and having a lot of them. And so I'm a huge fan of going to a lot of basketball camps. Like I just had a girl come into my training last week, little 7th grader. And I was like, how'd she learn? Like, how'd she get so good at all this stuff? And like, I got told she's waking up at like 6 a.m, shoot jump shots. She's in 7th grade, shoots like 500 shots every morning, all these type of things. And her skill level's off the charts for her age. And so I was talking to her mom, and she's like, yeah, I took her to like 9 basketball camps this summer. And I'm like, of course you did. Cause it just makes sense to do that. And the reason I say that is because, one, every coach isn't that good. So the more coaches you interact with and the more coaches you're around, the more likely you are to run into a good coach that can actually teach you what matters. And then once you learn what matters, then you just practice that all the time. And so I think having a good coach is like the most important thing in the world when it comes to basketball. It really is. Like, I promise you, because they have the knowledge that you need. And when you're young, you don't know what's right and what's wrong. You just going off what the coach tells you. And then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so it's kind of a luck thing, if I'm being honest. But if you want to increase your chances of having a good coach, you need to go to camps and go to clinics and go to all these things where you can meet a lot of different coaches. Hopefully you run into the right ones, and hopefully they have teams that you can play for, and then you join their team, and then they teach you, real basketball skills. I got lucky. I had good coaches when I was young. I had a few good coaches. They weren't all good, but I had a few. And so those few coaches are the foundation of who I became. 100%. Like the person you're hearing right now giving you this knowledge and all these things, I learned a lot of this stuff from the very few coaches that I had. Shout out to Coach Geiger, Coach Limbach, those two that I can name off the top of my head. But I had plenty of coaches, before that. But those two in particular, like, really taught me basketball and showed me that it was okay to be myself and be aggressive and just play, while also holding me accountable to do the right things and being a good teammate and knowing when to move and making the right pass and not being selfish and all these type of things. So, getting a good coach is super important. So do everything you can in order to have that in your life. And I promise you, it will make a difference. All right. Now, my third point is opportunity. Like, opportunity is everything. Nothing matters if you're not in the game. Like, who cares if you have infinity skills if you're just sitting on the bench, right? And so I always say it's more important, especially when you're really, really young, it's more important to find a team that you can play for and get minutes and grow than it is to just be on a good team. Like, so many players have an ego and they're like, oh, I want to play for this team because of the name and yada, yada. It's like, okay, yeah, great, but you're sitting on the bench doing nothing. So you're wasting your time. And the best example I can give that's current is Gilbert Arenas' son, his son Elijah. You have no idea. I know what high school he goes to because I've seen it 1,000 times, but no one knows what school he went to. You know what I'm saying? And he's about to be one of the best players in the nation. He's going to get every offer that's available to him. And it's because he played for teams that he's going to be a top 2, 3, player on. Right? And so that's what I would say is, like, go to the team that's decent or that's not that good and make them good. If you're actually that good, go to that team and make them good. Like, everybody already wants to jump on the ship that's already cruising along and like, okay, this team looks good. Let me go jump on over there. That's how you end up, not maximizing your potential, because then your performance don't matter. Like, if you win no matter what and you have no impact on that, like whether you score 25 or you score 2 and your team always wins, like, what's the point? You don't even know how good you are, right? But if your team needs you to make every good pass and your team needs you to get rebounds and your team needs you to play defense and score points and all these things, that's how you know if you're good or not. Because then it's like, okay, I performed and it got my team over the hump and we won. And so consistently putting yourself in that environment, like, that's how you grow, and that's how you figure out, how good you are, your impact on that team winning. And the other example is like Bronny. Everybody knows Bronny played for Sierra Canyon, right? Their stacked team. Now he's just a role player. He's just chilling. Like, I personally don't think he's a legitimate NBA player. It's going to be very hard for him to come by minutes. He's probably going to be out of the league soon. That's just my opinion. But it's because he never played on teams where he had to be the man. You know what I mean? Like, he never had to give me the ball and watch out. I got to carry us to this win. He's never had to do that. And so that's the difference between him, and that's the difference between Gilbert Arenas' son. Like, they're two totally different players, and Gilbert Arenas' son is going to be 10 times better than Bronny, even though Bronny played for better teams. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why it matters. So don't jump on the bandwagon. Don't jump on the good team. Like, to me, that's loser shit. You know what I'm saying? So go to a team where you can make them better, and you can get a lot of minutes, and you can get the ball, and you can perform. So then you can become the player that you want to become. Now, my fourth point is exposure. If no one's watching you play, that matters. Then who cares? If you're playing in some back gym in some middle school in the middle of South Dakota and no one's watching, what's it matter? You know what I mean? So exposure to the right people is the most important thing when it comes to where you're going to end up in college and professional ranks. And so the way to get to exposure, number one, you have the internet. Like, I didn't have this internet when I was a kid in 2011 when I graduated, right? The internet just barely, like, Instagram came out when I was in college. Think about how crazy that is. So I lived my entire youth basketball career with no social media, pretty much, outside of like YouTube, which I didn't even know how to post on YouTube. I didn't even think to do that. You know what I'm saying? No one even told me like, hey, you should post your clips on YouTube. I would have, but that wasn't a thing when I was a kid. If it was, I would have got offers 1,000%, because I would have just threw my clips out there. You know, I would have recorded everything, every game that I ever played. I would have recorded it, and it would have been somewhere on the internet. And so that's the advantage that you have now. If you're a young player, is like, put your clips on the internet. And the best example I see of this is there's this girl, her name's Jackie. If you look up That's Jackie on Instagram, like THATZJACKIE, all one word, on Instagram. She has the best, I think, I don't know what to call it. Like, her page just looks the best as far as how to post and what to put on there and what your clips should look like. Like, zoom in, don't have it where it looks like you're watching game film. You know what I'm saying? Like, zoom in on you and show the clips of you up close doing, showing off your skills in the game and producing. Like, I really think that's the number one way to get exposure. I discover kids all the time. Like, I remember when I was young, not when I was young, but yeah, when I was young, I saw Brittany Griner dunk on YouTube. Like, before she went to Baylor, she was 40-0 at Baylor. I saw her dunk on YouTube. I said, just some random girl. It's like, oh yeah, this girl can dunk. Look at this, and it's just her friends filming. She goes and dunks it. I'm like, what the hell, right? But she's Brittany Griner now. And I saw Paige Beckers when she was in high school. I can't remember what it was. This is probably like 2018 when I seen her. I just saw this girl playing. I'm like, dude, she plays like a NBA player, like a dude. Like, she plays like one of them. I was like, this is crazy. She's just in high school. And now it's Paige Beckers, right? Win National Player of the Year as a freshman. And so discovering all these people, and there's a player right now like Laura, I don't know how to say her last name, but it's like LARASOMFAI. She goes to IMG Academy now. I saw her, she's from Australia. I saw her in like 2019 on Instagram, and I'm like, damn, she's tall as shit. Like, she's playing up. Like, what kind of kid is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, she's dominating. Now she's one of the top top players in the nation, in the world. Excuse me. But she's one of the top players in the world in her age group. And I saw her a long time ago. And so, I think if I was a coach, I'd be recruiting these kids. And so put your clips out there, put your game clips out there, put anything that would gain attention, put it out there. And then to be strategic about it is you do that, but also in your bio, have like some sort of email or some sort of contact, and have a link to full game highlights. So what the clips will do is it'll get people interested. They'll go to your page and then they'll watch your full highlights. After they watch your full highlights, they'll try to find like full games. So try to get your full games onto YouTube. Like, get them off Huddle if you can. Huddle is just, I wouldn't even get on Huddle. It's an annoying app in the first place. But if you can get your full games on YouTube, put them on your own channel. And so they can go watch your full highlights. They can go watch your full games. And then they already know who you are. Now they can keep an eye on you. Now they can reach out and be like, hey, yeah, I watched you play, 5 of your AAU games that you have on your channel. I watched you play, and, I want to come see you play this winter, and all these other things. Like, that's really how it's going to work. That's how it works. Because during recruiting time, coaches have a minimal amount of time to watch film. And so they're going to go through thousands of players and you have a little bit of time to, make them interested in you. And so the highlights matter, the clips matter, and that's the interest right there. And now that they see you now, they'll be more invested in, like, okay, let me look into this kid. Let me reach out. Let me talk to their parents. And so that's like number one. Use the fucking internet. Like, use it. Secondly, that's number one. Secondly is play where the good players are. You don't have to necessarily be on their team or in the circuit. Like, yes, obviously it helps if you're playing EYBL, 100%. But if you can figure out where those teams play outside of just the EYBL things, or where those players play against them and get that on film. Because if someone's going to watch that player and you do well, they'll see you because they're watching the game. They're sitting there. You know what I'm saying? So playing against the best players is more important than being the best player. That's how you actually become the best. People always forget is like, how did Steph Curry catapult himself to the top? He beat Chris Paul. Chris Paul was one of the top point guards in the league. What did he do? He went in and he beat him, right? Crossed him on national TV, did all these things, and now he's Steph Curry. How did Kyrie catapult himself to the top? He beat Steph in the finals. So it's not like, yes, he was a number one pick and all these things, but he wasn't who you think of him, or he wasn't the person you think of now back then until he beat Steph Curry in the finals. And so you have to go find the best players and beat them in front of the coaches or whoever's important. And then that's how you get the attention and all these type of things. But use the internet to your advantage. Like, that's just, if you're not using it, I don't know what you're doing, to be honest with you. I don't. So don't cry about not getting a scholarship. Don't cry about not getting offers. Don't cry about not getting anything when your page ain't even set up. And now that leads me to my next point, which is play tough competition. Like, the best players that you can think of, they played up age groups, or specifically for girls, the best girls in the world played against boys, and the best boys in the world played against older boys or older men. You know what I'm saying? So like, when you're young, every NBA player, when they were young, played against NBA players. Like, Kobe Bryant at 15 years old was playing against Eddie Jones, who was playing for the Lakers. You see what I'm saying? And what that does is it makes your current competition seem easy. And so if you're playing against D1 players every day at 16 years old, and then you go back and you play varsity, it's going to be super easy to play varsity. You know what I'm saying? If you're a girl and you go and play boys all the time, like even boys that play freshman basketball or reserve basketball or JV basketball, they're better than 90% of the varsity, 99% of the varsity girls that you're going to face. 1,000%. And so if you can beat them, of course you can go against the girls on varsity and beat them. It's just super obvious to me. And that's how I got better. Like, when I was in middle school, the person I played one-on-one with the most was 4 years older than me. I played him like every other day, damn near. Couldn't beat him. Took me forever. Like, I beat him one time. I figured out how to do a crossover. So I faked him, went for a pull-up jumper. He fouled the shit out of me, made it for the game. Right? That was like the first time I beat him. Maybe the only time. I can't remember. But it took me forever. But then when I got to play against my own age group, it was just super easy. Like, middle school basketball was super easy because I'm like, y'all aren't 4 years older than me and strong and lifting weights and doing all these things. And so that's how I got better. Like, when I was 15 and I got to high school, I was playing against players that were D1 and they played at Nebraska and they played at UNO and all these different things. And so I'm playing against them all the time and training with them, and and they're teaching me all these different things. So then it's like, okay, I'm playing against other 15, 16-year-olds. Like, y'all aren't even close. You know what I mean? And when I got to college, my freshman year, I'm playing against their best players. Like, I'm going at All-Americans, and they're guarding me and doing all these things. And these are players that came from different states, and so they played on, like, way better AAU teams than I ever seen. And so I'm playing against them when I'm 18, and I'm like, it's making me so much better. So then when I play against the other freshmen that came in with me, it's like, okay, y'all aren't nothing, because I've been going head to head with these All-Americans already. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how you get better, is playing people that are better than you. That's all it is. And so if you're not doing that, it doesn't matter how much skill work you do. It doesn't matter how many drills you do. It doesn't matter how many camps you go to. You need to play against better competition all the time. And so when you're at your level, dominate your level, and then go play against the old men at the park or the YMCA or whatever gym you go to. Go find the competition and go play. Like, sometimes you might not get on because you're young, right? But you only need one chance. Like, okay, you get on there, make a couple shots. Now they know, okay, this kid can play. He's young, but he can play. Now they'll let you play with them. And then you do that consistently. You look for the best competition. And then when you play one-on-one, your one-on-one matchup has to be serious. So that's also, the benefit I had of like the people I played one-on-one all the time, we were playing for real. If you didn't want to play for real, I did not want to play you. Everybody that knows me knows this. If you did not want to play for real, I didn't want to play. Like, I would mess around with my friends and stuff when like we'd played 21 and all this other stuff. But if I'm really trying to play basketball and I go to open gym and like you're all bullshit at open gym, I'm just going to do skill work. Because like you're wasting my time. I'm not playing you. And so that's how I operated. And so I played people one-on-one consistently that wanted to play serious. That's it. So that's how you make the progress. Like, on top of the mastering the basics and all that other stuff I said before. So go find tough competition, go play against it, go get used to it, and then go back to your level and watch what happens. All right, for on the court, I'm going to keep it simple. Okay, you don't need 10,000 moves. You don't need a bag and 17 counters. I'm gonna tell you how to win on the court. The number one understanding is basketball is an advantage game. It's an advantage game. You have to have an advantage over somebody. That's how you win, right? LeBron has a physical advantage over every single one of his matchups. He always has. He's either been quicker than somebody or he's either been stronger than somebody. And when you have both of those and you know how to use it, like, you don't need as many moves. You really don't. If you have somebody that matches your attributes, so somebody that is as quick as you and is as strong as you, the next best thing you need to have is fakes. Like, you have to be able to outsmart them. You have to be able to fake. So your jab step got to be on point. Your pump fake got to be on point. Your cuts got to be on point. Like, you can't play with the ball. You got to be deceptive. Like, that's the next half of the game. And so either you're very, very deceptive, or you're quicker, or you're stronger. That is like the baseline of basketball. People don't understand that. And so once you understand that, like, go watch NBA and watch how these dudes are scoring. And it's like, what is their advantage? What's KD's advantage? Oh yeah, he could shoot over anybody. That's his advantage. Okay, he's playing against bigs. He's quicker. He has a crossover. He's deceptive. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's how he's able to average 30 every year, 25 every year, because he has some type of advantage. That's what it is. Like, and so once you can understand that part, you also have to add on understanding human behavior. So there's certain types of players. Like, some players like to drive a lot. And so you got to pick up on those type of things and realize what their tendencies are. It's like, okay, this person's always going to drive right. This person's always going to fake. He's always going to hesitate. He's never going to shoot the actual step back. Like, picking up on those type of things will put you a step ahead. And especially when it comes to defenders, it's like, okay, this defender always reaches, or he always jumps when I get to the basket, like trying to block me. So I'm a pump fake, or, I'm going to do this certain move to get past him. Like, those are the things that you have to understand. It's more than just skill. It's all mental, and it's all knowing your advantage. And so that's building block number one. The next thing is, once you get to that point, right, the next thing is playing simple. Do not force shots. There's always opportunities to score. And if you watch basketball, like I always say, watch my film study 3 on YouTube. It shows you 90% of the shots in real games are simple. It's catch and shoot, 1 dribble pull up, 2 dribble pull up, or go all the way to the basket. Those are like, that's pretty much the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's very few times that you get into your bag and do all these one-on-one moves and then get a shot off. Like, and only the top 25 players in the world do that consistently every game. Like, if you're a role player, you might do that once a month if you're lucky. And so being able to keep it simple is how you become the best. Because KD still plays simple. Even though he has like great one-on-one moves, he still plays simple. He's not scoring 25 a game strictly one-on-one. It's not happening. Steph Curry's not averaging 30 strictly one-on-one. That it does not happen. You can watch the film and see for yourself how simple their shots are. And so I'm gonna make it super simple for you. This is what you do: is you can either go left, go right, or shoot it, or you can fake left, you can fake right, or you can fake shoot it. Like, there's really nothing else when you have the ball. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's really that simple. And once you realize that, it's like, okay, am I going to fake the shot and drive? Am I going to fake the drive and shoot? Am I going to fake right, go left and shoot? Like, that's pretty much what it is. So don't try to think about all these specific moves like punch, drag, and tween, and all this other bullshit. Like, it don't really matter what you do. It only matters what you're trying to do. Like, where are you trying to go? What's your intention? Are you going left? Are you going right? What are you trying to do? Right? Once you break it down and you make it that simple, then you're able to just play basketball without overthinking. And it's really simple. Like, if they play off you, shoot it. If they play close, drive past them. Right? If they overreact to your first move, make a counter. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's that simple. Once you drive left, if they cut it off, counter. But go straight as best you possibly can when you drive. That's the next thing. When you drive, like, go straight. Don't round it off. Don't do nothing crazy. You get one setup, so you can take a delay, or you can float, or you can do whatever you want. Hang dribble, and then go. Or hang dribble and fake and go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's genuinely that simple. And so keep it that simple. And basketball is going to be so easy for you. I promise. And then the second part of that on the court equation, or the last part, I don't know what part I'm on, but the next thing you got to understand is always be in attack mode. Never be passive. When you're passive, the defense pressures the shit out of you and you probably turn it over, right? So when you catch that ball, even before you catch that ball, always think, how can I attack? And attacking doesn't mean you always got to shoot it, right? Like, you can attack and draw the help and make a pass. Like, it's the same thing. It's like, you make a good play, but don't be in a situation to where it's like you're not looking to go forward with the ball or to make something happen with the ball. Like, don't just catch it and be like, how can I give the ball to someone else? Like, no, it's like, catch it, be aggressive, go forward, make something happen, especially if they're going to give it to you, and get downhill and draw the help and make passes. Like, be aggressive with your movements. Do not be passive. That is how you get eaten alive on the court. All right. So now that leads me to my next point, which is athleticism matters. And I brought it up a little bit earlier, right? When I said everything is an advantage, like basketball is an advantage game. There's a reason two of the best players of all time in LeBron and MJ are actually two of the best athletes to ever play basketball. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a coincidence that it's like that. It's not a coincidence that LeBron is 6'9", is quick as a cat, and as strong as your center, is one of the best players ever. It's not a coincidence. He's like the most athletic, probably the best athlete basketball has ever seen. And Michael Jordan is also one of the best athletes the NBA has ever seen. It's like, he has a 40-some inch vert. I don't know what it was, like 48-inch vert. Like, quick as lightning. I think they said he ran like a 4.4, 4.5, something like that, something crazy. And he's one of the best basketball players of all time. It's not an accident. And so athleticism matters. Like, you have to be athletic. And this is why I said, you do everything in your power to become more athletic. That's what I did. That literally took me over the hump. Was like, I was slow, I had asthma, I couldn't run fast. Like, I was quick, I was slightly quick, I was deceptive, but I just wasn't as good as everybody else because I was not athletic. And so from 16 to 17, I did every single thing in my power to become more athletic. And I started dunking, and I started running faster, and I was stronger. I could bully people, and then I just became like unstoppable after that point. Like, that's how I felt, right? And so do everything in your power to become more athletic. Everything. Like, that should be at the top of your list. If you're not in shape and you can't play a lot of minutes without dying on the court, like you're about to pass out, or you can't outrun people, or you can't outjump anybody, and you can't push anybody around, stop what you're doing, stop all the skill work, and fix that. Keep up with your skill work, but that's priority number one. Like, that's going to make you better faster than anything else. And so this is what I would tell you to do, right? Like, I want to bring up this quickness point really quick before I tell you. But quickness is like the number one attribute in every sport. Think about football, right? Who's the best football players out right now? Like Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Jackson. Like, these dudes are quick. Like, even people that don't run, like Patrick Mahomes is quick. He might not be like straight line fast, but if you think you're going to get a sack on him, he's going to be gone in a flash and you won't even know what happened because he's quick. You know what I'm saying? He gets the ball out quick. He throws quick. He decides quick. Quickness is like the number one X factor in every single sport. Every coach will tell you this. Like, if you are quick, you can beat most people as long as you have good enough skills. Quick people are impossible to deal with unless you are equally as quick as them. And if you don't believe me, think about John Morant or Allen Iverson. Them dudes weigh like 170 pounds maximum. They're not pushing anybody around. But Iverson has 4 scoring titles in the NBA, and he's like 6 feet, barely. Like, John Morant is destroying people in the NBA, getting to the basket at will and jumping over people. And he don't weigh anything. He's not bullying nobody. He's strong enough, but he's not like, no one's looking at them dudes and be like, okay, they're physically, imposing or threatening or whatever it is. It's like, no, what's threatening about them is their quickness and their speed. And so that's the X factor in sports. Soccer's the same way. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best athletes soccer has ever seen, right? Think about Messi. His feet are lightning quick. He's super quick with the ball. Two best soccer players of all time. Two of them, right? And so, like, athleticism matters. Put all your chips in the athleticism basket and do anything you can to max out your own athleticism. All right. And these are the things practically, I'm going to give you some things that I think you should do. Okay. I always say ATG workouts. Like, just look up ATG, Athletic Truth Group, or Knees Over Toes guy. Do all his workouts for sure. Like, that's how you avoid injury. For number one, but for two, that just gives you a lot of foundational strength, makes you more athletic. I would do those. And then I would also look up GOATA workouts, GOATA workouts. I would look those up, do as many of those as you can, because it will change how you run. And so you can run with a better movement pattern, which for one keeps you from becoming injured, but for two, it maximizes your athleticism. Most people, like, they have enough strength or these type of things to be fast and all this, but they don't move properly. So, like, your biomechanics matter when it comes to movement. I got lucky. I had very good biomechanics naturally, so I never had to work on them. But if your biomechanics are not good, like if you're not a natural athlete on some level, you don't have a natural balance and all these things, like, you need to work on it. And that's how you can fix it, by doing GOATA workouts. So go look those up, go do those. They just changed their pricing structure, so it's expensive as shit. But, I'm going to try to learn it all and put some videos out and help everybody with those. So look those up. And then when it comes to being in shape, especially with your legs, Jump Attack by Tim Grover. When I did Jump Attack, I did it in college for the first time. I bought the book, and my mile time was like consistently 7.5 minutes. Like, I was the worst mile runner of all time. Of all time, easily. Right? But once I did that book, my mile time went down to 5 minutes and 15 seconds. And that's like a world record for me. You know what I'm saying? I never in my life thought I would ever be able to run a mile that fast. Like, I always had asthma. I was always like slow and all these type of things. But once I did that, I was never tired. I could play basketball all day. Like, practice became easy. My teammates are struggling with all these different things that we're doing, and I'm just like destroying them in anything that we did athletically. Like, we're doing hills, I'm first every single time. That never used to happen. I never used to get 5 minutes anything in the mile. And so I will recommend that book to everything. It's everyone. It's the hardest book you'll ever do, but 100% worth it if you're serious about basketball. The next thing is calisthenics. Like, every time I look at a video and I see calisthenics people doing what weightlifters do, they're always better than them. Like, they can always lift more than the people that actually lift the weights. And so I think calisthenics is by far the best just strength building workout that you can do. And these are all things that I want to put together, obviously, to give you like a practical sense. But just use YouTube, dude. Just get on there, do something basic. Don't look for anything crazy. Just try some stuff out, see what works for you, and do those. And then the next thing is stretch every day. Like, look up stretching videos. There's a billion of them. And do those. And there's this thing called foot yoga. Like, I think everybody should do that. It keeps your feet strong, because every movement that you do starts at the feet, right? So if your feet are weak, your body's going to be weak and it's going to break down. So make sure your feet are strong. Do some foot yoga. And I think all those things is all you need. Like, I know your school is going to make you do a bunch of bullshit. They're going to be having you doing these deadlifts and power cleans and whatever else. Do the workouts that I'm telling you, so then when you go and do those other things with your school, you're not getting hurt, and you just get through it. So I just say the stuff that they do at school, just get through it. You know what I'm saying? Just get through it. It's not all meant to. They don't know everything about everything, and so they're just gonna put you through a generic workout. Caveman workouts. That's what I call them. Gonna be in there doing bench. Gonna be in there doing deadlift, squats. Like, that shit is caveman shit. You know what I'm saying? But everything I'm telling you to do right now, like, I've looked into it. I always look for the best of the best. Like, y'all know me at this point. If you've been following me for a long time, I'm always going to look for the best of the best of the best option, and I'm going to give you that. And so everything I just named, go look those up and do them. Okay, so late edition. I forgot to add this in there while I was doing the whole recording. How to practice and when to know when to rest and all that kind of stuff. Practicing, you got to do one thing over and over and over and over and over until you get it. Like, it's that simple. People saying variability and never shoot the same shot twice in a row. Idiots. Okay, the only people doing that in the NBA are people who can stand in the corner and make 100 threes in a row, no question. Like, when they're watching Steph Curry shoot and they're like, oh, Steph Curry never does the same shot twice in a row. Yeah, it's like, yeah, he could stand at the top of the key and rain off 95 out of 100. Most kids can't do that. So if you can't do that, you don't need to be doing variability. You don't need to do anything crazy. All you got to do is do one thing 100 times minimum a day before you move on to the next thing. And practice simple shots. Don't practice 6 combo moves into a shot. You're wasting time. There's 3 types of shots. There's a catch and shoot, and there's a dribble pull up, and then there's some type of finish or floater. Literally, it's the simplest thing in the world. And you can incorporate that philosophy into anything, whether it's one dribble step back, like literally shoot that same one dribble step back 100 times and before you move on to the next thing. But don't do, move, counter move shot. Like, you're wasting time if you can't already make the easiest shots consistently. So like 1 dribble pull up, 2 dribble pull up, catch and shoot. Like, if you can't do those things consistently, like 1 move and shoot, like that's, if people are like, okay, how do I incorporate this and do moves? Do 1 move and shoot it. So do your crossover, shoot it. Do your crossover, shoot the floater. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you want to practice. So keep it efficient, keep it simple, do it a billion times until you can't mess it up. Pick 3 things that you want to get. Like, everybody should be able to catch and shoot. I think catch and shoot is first, 1 dribble pull up, 2 dribble pull up is second. If you can't make those 3 shots consistently, don't be practicing other shit. All right. And then when it comes to like how much to practice and all this stuff, there's no perfect answer, right? Obviously, do not hurt yourself, but push yourself to the limit. I always say, if you feel like you're going to get injured, just stop. You don't need to be pushing through injury and all these other things. I think, people take that, when people hear like Kobe mentality, they take it the wrong way. All it is maximizing what you're doing and doing it to the best of your ability and just maxing out. But don't get to a point to where it's like, okay, my shoulder's in a lot of pain, but I'm gonna keep going. Like, that's just being dumb, right? You don't have to do that because that's how you get hurt. And so if you get to that point, like, even for myself, I was working out the other day and I'm like, oh shit, my shoulder is hurting. Or no, what was it? It was my hip. Yeah, my hip fell off. Like, I was in the first set of this exercise that I was doing like knee raises with the cable, and like my hip was hurting while I was doing this. And so I stopped. I didn't do any more reps after that. Like, it's that simple. And so don't feel like you gotta, push through pain and all these other things. Like, soreness and fatigue is different than pain. So be aware enough to know the difference and know that rest does not subtract from what you're doing. Rest adds on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when your muscles start to grow, when you're resting. You get taller in your sleep. Like, that's really what it is. And so everything is an addition. Like, nothing is a subtraction. The only time you're subtracting is if you're doing things when you know you're about to get hurt. So don't have an ego, know when to stop, but push yourself to the limit. And when you get to that limit, like physically of like soreness and those type of things, you just go a little bit beyond that. Like, that's it. So like, if you're damn near about to pass out after your last rep or whatever it is, do 1 more and then stop. That's it. That's how you extend it. You don't got to do 10 more. Like, if your hip's about to pop, stop, bro. just it's that simple. But all right, now this next thing is mindset. And I think the number one mindset hack that I have is, like, for one, it don't really matter, bro. It's basketball. Like, it's just a recess game. It's some game that they made up at a rec center in Canada. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's where it was made. I wrote a paper on it probably like 10 times, so I should know where, like, what, if it was like some gym. I think it was like PE class or something that was made up. But it's just a game, dude. Like, you don't have to take it so serious towards life and death. I always say, if it's not fun, then you're messing up somewhere. And a side note on that is, do not expect it to like always be fun every second. Like, a lot of the times it should be fun, but it's really, I heard this thing from an Olympian. She was like, a third of the time you're going to feel good, a third of the time you're going to feel like crap, and a third of the time you're going to feel like in the middle somewhere. Right. And so that's really, if you feel that, then you're probably going in the right direction. And I always say, like, when you have an off day, just, it is what it is. Just kind of expect those days will come sometimes. Just learn how to move on and don't feel like, oh, I'm going to suck forever. Like, that's just, it's not real. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you always feel like crap, then something's off. Like, you're you're not having enough fun within the game, or you're not doing the right things. And if you always feel too good, like it's always great, you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. So just understand that there's ups and downs, and when you feel like crap, just kind of go through the motions and do the best that you can. That's really all it's about, is just do your best when you can, and try to find the fun within it. I think that's really what it's about. And so like everything that I ever did basketball wise, it was still fun for me. Like I love going to practice. I love playing the real games. I loved working out, going to the field house and getting faster. And I think my love for those things, like the workout part of it, was I love the results that I was getting. So people always like, oh yeah, love the process. And I always say, you're not going to love the process if you're not getting results. I don't know anybody that does. It's just stupid. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? And so get results as fast as you can, as far as like implement something into your workouts. Get a result fast. Like figure out, get a result fast. Then love the thing that's giving you the result. I love the result, which made me love the thing that I was doing, because I'm like, I know I'm going to get better if I just shoot these shots all day. And if I do these type of workouts, I know I'm going to get better. So that's the knowing of it's going to work made me enjoy the process. That's it. And also sometimes you got to define what the result is for you. So some people, the result is playing well in games. Like that's what they want. And some people, the result is just having a fun time. And so when I say, people don't enjoy the process unless they're getting result, like the result that people want is different. So understand what that result is, like whether that's performance or whether that's just to feel good, or, to just be able to play in itself, without getting hurt. Like that might be your result of like, okay, I can play and my body's not hurting. You know what I'm saying? So go after that result, the result that you want. And that's what's going to make it fun when you know what process it takes to get the result that you're after. You will then enjoy the process itself. And once that stopped, I stopped having fun and I stopped playing basketball. Genuinely. And so keep that at the front of it, but also understand that it's just basketball. It's just a game. Life is so much bigger than, putting the ball in the basket. And the best thing is having a life outside of it. So as much as I worked on the game, like I always say, I got 20,000 hours in this game. I'm not exaggerating that number. I'm probably around there. I think I had like 10,000 when I was like 20. I probably hit 10,000 by that point when I was like 21, right? And so I'm at like 20,000, I think now. And throughout all that, I still had a life. I still was like having fun. I'd go play video games, or I'd go skateboarding, or I'd go swimming, or I'd go to the movies, or I would like hang out and like do all these things. But, I still did the work. Like I would tell my friends, hey, come pick me up from the gym. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like even when I had a girlfriend, I'm like, okay, I'm going to the gym, 9:30. I'll see you after I'm out. Right? So I prioritized what I need to prioritize, and it made having a life so much easier, because I'm not anxious. I don't feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not, like, I never felt as if I wasn't doing enough, because I always made it a priority to do what I needed to do, and then, move on with it. And I think if you're able to do that, it'll bring you a sense of peace, but if you're not taking care of business and you're not working out the way you need to, or the way you should, that's going to give you the anxiety and the fear and all these other things, when you have games coming up, or you have moments coming up that you need to do well in. Like you won't be afraid because you've done the work. But if you're afraid, you probably haven't done the work. You probably haven't played the competition that you need to play. You probably haven't fixed your weaknesses that I always talk about. And that's something I should have threw in earlier. That's just a side note, is if you don't know what to work on, your weaknesses. How do you know what your weaknesses are? Play open gym. So playing and then evaluating your play. Okay, I suck at going left. I suck at handling pressure. Let me go work on that. So the feedback loop of the game will tell you what to work on. So just want to throw that out there. But going back to enjoying the game, the process, and all these other things, like I think just when you do the work that's required, it's easy to have a life and you can enjoy both sides of the game. You know what I'm saying? On and off the court. And even after the game was over, like I wasn't stressed that, oh man, obviously I got pissed when we lost and pissed when I played bad, but after a game, I'm like, I go take a shower and then I'm going to hang out and we're watching football or playing video games. Like that's just how I live my life. Like my friends that hung out with me in college, they know this. I worked harder than anybody, but I'm still hanging out. Like we can still have fun. That's just what it was. And so I think, I think that's what's important when it comes to being able to, um, I don't know what to call it, just being able to be at peace with this game. I think that's important. And the next thing is like, don't expect to be perfect on the first try. I think that a lot of people make that mistake of like, oh, well, I feel dumb, or I feel okay. So what? Like, it happens. You think you're going to get it right on the first try? It's not happening. It's not happening. And the people that you're afraid of judging you won't even try. And so why are you afraid of people that won't even try? Like, they have the judgments of like, it's like the man in the arena, right? It's like obvious fans have shit to say because they're not playing. That's what I say. I just don't listen to them. Like, okay, great, I'm taking action, and you're sitting on your ass looking at me, which means you're doing nothing. So you suck. Like, that's literally how I see it. I don't see how people can be affected by someone else's perception of them. Especially, it's like, how do you have time to pay attention to what I'm doing? It's like, you really got to be a loser. You really got to be a loser. You must have nothing going on, because winners don't talk shit about winners. Promise you that much. So just understand what matters, whose opinion matters, which is pretty much no one's, and do what you got to do, man. Like, you're not going to get it right on first try. I always say it's about editing. Like, when you're in school and they're like, hey, you got to write this paper, you're not going to write a perfect paper on the first try. No one writes a movie script and it's like they shot out a movie script on the first try and it's like, okay, it's perfect. It's like, no, they edit and they revise and they go over it and they redo it and they add stuff and they take away stuff, and eventually they have a movie, or eventually the script's done or the paper's done, right? And even after they turn it in, it's like, oh damn, I wish I would have added this in there. Like, when they watch the movie, like, oh man, we should have did this on that part. Like, there's always more, but eventually you come out with something, but you're not the first try. No one ever gets it right on the first try. So just throw something out there on the first try. Do anything on the first try, and then fix what you did. You need something to fix. That's what it is. It's not perfect. It's like you're playing basketball. When you play the game, you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to make every shot. It just gives you something to evaluate and do better for the next time. That's what it is. It's this infinite chase of better, or infinite chase of perfection, or whatever it is that you're after. And so once you can kind of understand these things as truth, don't just listen to what I'm saying. Be like, oh yeah, it sounds good. Like, it's the truth. It's not just like, I'm not trying to be motivational. I'm just not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a motivational speaker or none of that shit. I'm just telling you the truth of what it is. Like, this is how it works. Like, this life. And so you got to accept it as the truth, not just an opinion. I didn't make this shit up. Like, this is just what it is. This is how I'm able to do everything I'm able to do. When people watch me, like people that follow my page, like, there's people that didn't follow me since I had 1,000 followers on Instagram, or I've had 5,000 followers on TikTok. People have been following me since I started, and they know how I get down. I just edit and I go and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna launch this thing, and I'm like, never mind, this sucks. I'm not doing that. Or I have a good idea, or nah, I don't want to do this anymore. Or I did 15 TikTok lives and now I don't do them anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's an infinite, change and fix to my ultimate goal, which is like, being the most impactful basketball teacher I can possibly be. Like, that's the infinite goal of being the best. And so on the way to that, I change and I adjust and I fix things and I do things and I try things and I throw it out there while everyone else is debating and they're talking. And I want to do this and I want to do that, and good idea this and good idea. I don't want to hear good idea nothing. I want to see action. That's me. I'm action. You know what I'm saying? But it comes off the truth of what I'm saying. I'm not just like saying some shit to make you feel good. I don't care. I want you to do what's right. I want you to do something with what I'm telling you. And so understand this shit is the truth. Like, I always say it's a video game. Like, you're not going to beat the game on the first try. You're going to die on Mario when you first get in there and you run into a turtle shell. And then it's like the next time you go through, you're like, okay, I remember to jump this time. Right? And then you get past the jump and you fall in the fire. You're like, okay, I got to remember to jump and then go over the fire. Like, that's life. That's basketball. Like, adjust as you go and figure it out. Every time something don't work, figure out why it didn't work and then fix it. It's that. You know what I'm saying? So just understand, man, this shit don't matter. It's a stupid game. You're going to be 98 one day and you won't even be able to move, hopefully you will be able to move. But, if you didn't take care of your body, you're going to have a metal hip and a wheelchair and some bullshit, and you're not even going to play basketball no more. So who cares? It's just a game. All right, my last point I'm going to leave you with. This shit was longer than I thought. Hopefully you like this. Hopefully it's good. I mean, I know it's helpful, but it's kind of went in order, went a little bit of cohesion, a little bit. But the last part of it, man, is self-perception. This is something I brought up last time. And I'll throw another point in there that I didn't write down, which is going to be risks. Hopefully I don't forget that. I just wanted to say that you got to take a risk. But self-perception, how you see yourself matters. That's all there is. Nothing else matters. Because you got to think, right? Before players make it to the NBA, they have to see themselves as a good player or capable of being a good player or capable of being a professional, no matter how it looks. Like my perfect example that I always give is this Terrence Ross. If you know that, he used to play for the Magic. He played for the Raptors. He was on a dunk contest one time. I think he might have won. I can't remember. But he said that he didn't know if he was going to make the NBA. All he did was take it day by day. He took it day by day, and he thought that, okay, I'm going to play 4 years in college, and then I'm going to go overseas, and then I'm going to try out for the NBA. Like, that's what he thought, right? But even within what I'm saying right there, that's still, in his mind, he still thought he was capable of making it. He just thought it was going to be a different route. He was like, okay, I might not be able to get drafted. I'm just going to have to go play 4 years and then play overseas and then try out for the NBA. Like, I'm capable of that. But that it's still, in the end, it's capable of being in the NBA no matter what the route he thought it was going to be. But what ended up happening was this dude got drafted. I think he was a first. Well, let me see what draft pick this dude was. I'm looking this up in real time. But he was drafted into the NBA and played like 15 years. You know what I'm saying? And so the fact that happened, regardless of what he thought, let me see right here. But yeah, this dude played, let me see how many years. 733 NBA games. Come on, man. He played, 11 years in the NBA. Can I see his draft? Terrence Ross, the number 8 pick. He was a lottery pick. And this dude thought he was going to go overseas and get a shot at the NBA. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I don't know what you're expecting to hear from me. And I know most guys would just give you like that standard copy and paste answer. But I mean, bro, it's not. I never had a plan from your age to now to get me to where I am. I literally thought I was going to play in college for 4 years, go overseas, and then get a shot at the NBA and see what happens. I literally just took it day by day. If I could tell you anything, just take it day by day. Try to get better as much as you can. Don't try to worry about the things that are not in your control.
Like, you don't know how it's going to work out, but as long as you can see a path that makes sense to you, it only has to make sense to you. Like, I used to think in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to this small school, and then I'm going to transfer up, and I'm going to play at a bigger school, and then I'm going to go, I don't even know, I can't remember what I thought. I think I was going to, like, try out or some shit. Like, I can't remember what I thought was going to happen, but I made it realistic to me. And once you're able to do that, of like, okay, I am capable of doing of going through the path that I laid out for myself in order to reach the ultimate goal, then you will start to do the actions. The actions do not create the self-perception. It's the self-perception comes first, then you do the actions based on that. So you have to see yourself as possibly being good, as possibly making it to certain levels, no matter what it looks like. Make the route that makes sense for you. So the route I just gave you, where Terrence Ross was like, okay, I'm going to go 4 years here, and then I'm going to go overseas and then try for the NBA, and then go to the G League and get called up, and then blah, 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 right? Like, if you can make that make sense to you and actually feel as though you can go through that path and make it happen, you will do the work. You will do the work, but you will not do the work until you fix this part. This should have been the first thing I opened up with. You will not do the work if you do not fix that part of you. If you always see yourself as a bad player, if you always see yourself as not capable, if you always see yourself as certain things, 100% guarantee you it's not going to work no matter what you do. You will always fall to the level of your perception. 100%. Like, you can't fake confidence. Confident people can spot insecurity. Insecure people can spot confidence. You know what I'm saying? And so you can fake confident all you want, but real confident people know what fake confidence looks like. We can tell. So don't get it twisted. We can tell. You know, you're not going to do anything that's confident if you're not already confident. You won't take confident actions. And so fix your self-perception and see yourself as capable, because you are. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you're you got to be, I don't even want to say realistic. I hate when people say be realistic. Realistic is just, a general thought. I don't even know what to call it. Like, it's just general possibilities that society has came up with that everybody should be able to do. That's realistic. Okay. You don't want to be realistic. You want to know the odds of what you're getting yourself into. I always say, like, you got to know what game you're playing. So if you have a talent level of 20 and you can't barely catch, and you're 17 years old and you can't catch a ball, don't be thinking that you're going to go to the NBA. It's not probable. The odds of that are very, very low. You can play them odds if you want to, but that's like living your life trying to win the lottery. Like, your odds are very, very fucking low. You know, I wouldn't bank on that. So I'll never say nothing is impossible, but the odds can be stacked against you heavily. So understand what game you're playing. If you have when it comes to basketball, if you have a general level of athleticism, if you're not like behind the pack when it comes to that, if you're not behind, that's all you got to look for. If you're not super far behind everybody else around you, then you have a shot. You know what I'm saying? And if you're somewhat close to the people ahead of you, like if they're just like a little bit more athletic or a little bit faster or shoot a little bit better than you or do things a little bit faster or whatever it is, and it's not that far out of reach for you, or you can compete with them sometimes, then it's in the realm of possibilities. That's what I say. So think about those things, and if you see it's like, okay, I'm not that much worse than this person right now. I can be better than them at some point if I do the right things. You know, I can reach that level if I practice the right way, or if I play against these certain people that can make me better. Like, if you can really see that for yourself and know that your odds are really good, then draw out the map for yourself and see what it would look like, you know, for you to become that, and say, okay, I can become that. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to do that. That's possible for me. So then you'll do the work. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. And once you get that part down, you'll be off to the races, man. I'm telling you. And understand, I'm gonna give you this last point before I give my final thoughts and then cut this off. We're going on like an hour almost. When you do your self-perception stuff, you have to imagine like what it feel. It's the feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's not fake. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna do these workouts because these are what pros do. It's like, no, it's like, I feel like that person. I feel like a professional. I feel like a really good basketball player. I feel confident. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a genuine feeling in a way to where your body has a physical reaction. That's what you're looking for. The physical reaction within your body. Like when you go through this mind game that you're playing, figuring out your self-perception. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to solve all the bullshit from the past. Don't try to figure out, why did I used to do this? Why did I used to do that? Why did I used to act like that? Who cares? It's over. Move on. Like, that's another tip I'll give you, is moving on. Matter of fact, I'm going to jump into these next two tips real quick and then end this. Okay, so self-perception, understand what I said. You know, see yourself going through that path and making it until your body has a physical reaction. And that's how you know, like, you can do it. Okay, the next thing is, what was I saying? This is why I wanted to move quick. I was going to say take risk, and then there was something else that I just said. Fuck, why can't I remember what I just said? Damn, my bad. I'm going to have to listen to this and go through it and maybe make a separate video on that point. But the next thing I was going to say is, like, take risk. And the risk you got to take, the moving on. Okay, I'm going to do that part, and I'm going to do this. Hold on, let me type this, because I'm going to move on, take a risk. Okay. I'm going to go through moving on, and then I'm going to go through take risk. I'm going to give my final thoughts, and then we out. Okay, moving on. You have to be able to let shit go. It's already over. So don't be thinking about trying to solve these problems that you used to have, or the way you used to play basketball. Like, I used to shoot with two hands in 5th grade. I don't be thinking about that shit. I don't. I used to turn the ball over versus pressure. I don't think about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's long gone, dude. And so you have to be able to move on from certain things. And the way you move on is just understand it don't matter. And you've already learned from it, and you know what to do to fix it. Like, if you don't know what to do to fix it, then that might be what's holding you up on it. But the reason you're probably held up on it is because you're not taking the action to fix the thing that you're held up on. I'm going to say that again. The reason you're held up on the past is because you're not taking the action to fix it in real time. It's very hard to think about the past when you're in the moment of doing action. That's why I'm so big on action. People just think, sit and think, and they talk, and they wonder, and they do all this, mind manipulation bullshit. Take action. You understand? Figure out what you have to do and do it. It's that simple. And so that's like the number one thing you have to understand is moving on. Like, you get one day to sulk. I'll give you one day. After that, if you're still sulking, that's on you. If you want to be stuck in the past, that's on you. But fucking move on, bro. Okay? I don't know why I said that point, but that shit matters. Next thing is take risk. Meaning, if you know you should move to a different team, even to a different city, or to a different college, or whatever the risky, maneuver is. If you know you have to do that, be willing to do it. Be willing to change and be flexible. I'm super flexible, willing to change person. Right? I genuinely am. I'm willing to leave a program. I'm willing to start new things. I'm willing to move. I'm willing to do all these things. I'm willing to take the risk. Because it's like nothing moves forward without it. Eventually you got to make that bet. You know what I mean? Like this, especially when it's like business stuff. Like I always equate this stuff to business. Is like I talk to so many small business owners and they're so afraid to spend money. They're so afraid of like, what if I put $500 in this thing and it don't work? Okay, well, what if you sit and watch it and you don't do anything with your $500? You're going to be in the same spot. So would you rather be in the same spot or move on to better and greater things? If you don't want to be great, then don't take the risk. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to force you to be great, but greatness comes with risk. It takes huge risk for Kyrie Irving to shoot that shot over Steph Curry in the finals. It takes a lot of risk. It takes a lot of risk for Caitlin Clark to shoot that shit from 30 feet. Enough for her coach to be okay with it. It's a lot of risk. You're risking minutes. You know what I'm saying? If you don't make them shits, you're probably on the bench, right? But when you work on the things and you know how to get better and you know how to maneuver and adjust to situations, then risk becomes easier. People don't take risk because they don't trust their decision making. I take risk all the time because I trust my decision making. If I do something and it don't work out, okay, I can figure it out. I know how to get out of the situation. You know what I'm saying? I know how to get out of situations that don't work out or that seemingly don't work out. I take my lesson and then I move on. Like I've taken risk before. So I think that's what it is being confident in yourself and being able to adapt in any situation and figure it out. Your ability to figure it out is going to determine how much risk you take. It's that simple. But now I want to get to my final thoughts, man. That was a lot of talking. Hopefully you made it to the end. If you made it to the end, you're a real one. Leave a comment if you made it all the way down here. 50 some minutes in. I really appreciate it. And my final thoughts on this is go back and listen to all the things that I said. I'll try to timestamp it at some point. If you're listening to this on like the first day and it's November 1st or 2nd, I probably have not timestamped it yet. If you're one of the people listening to it, maybe you could timestamp it for me in the comments and leave out when I switch subjects at certain times. I appreciate that. Matter of fact, the first person to do that, I'll send you a t-shirt. So yeah, give you a little incentive because I don't really want to do it. But no, I really hope you got something out of this. And please, don't just listen to this shit and feel motivated. I hate that. It drives me nuts. I don't watch any motivational videos because I just feel like it makes you feel like you did something that you didn't do. So don't listen to this and be like, oh yeah, this made sense, man. And this is Coach JJ spot on, man. He really knows his shit, man. It's really helped me. And then you're fucking sitting there still. Get out some paper and start writing, start planning. And first thing tomorrow, get on it. You know what I'm saying? Take the first step, even if it's a small step. Don't feel like you got to make this big ass leap, but at least do a step. Do something to move the needle. That's my biggest thing. It's don't just be a listener and a watcher. Those are losers. I know a lot of them. They listen and they watch and they read and they think and then, what do you think about this idea? What do you think about that idea? Maybe I should do this. Maybe I do that. And then blah, blah, blah. It's bro, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm already mid-action. So you taking action with me or you watching? Because I'm not about to sit here and talk to you. You wasting my fucking time. You know what I'm saying? So get out there, man. Do the damn thing. Don't take it personal. Don't take life personal. Keep it moving. Try your best. One day at a time. And just have fun, bro. It's just a game. It's not war. You're not out here getting shot at. So I think you'll be okay dribbling a basketball. It's not that bad. You could be in impoverished country in Africa somewhere. So yeah.
Bye.